You know how like when you turn 21? So it was Pride this weekend, and I heard Roscoe's in Chicago was charging $21 at the door. 21. That's a whole dollar more than what I had to pay to get into Roscoe's like last Pride. So, you know, but I feel like we have to really support gay bars because a lot of them have been shutting down, especially post-COVID. So, you know, we'll pay for it, right? I also found out recently that the first gay bar I ever went to, which is Therapy in New York City, permanently shut down, I think, because of COVID. And yeah, that's kind of sad. So today, I'm going to tell you guys the story of my first time at a gay club. Aww. And I know you guys are all going to ask me the same question. So how much sausage did you get? Double sausage? Double sausage? Double sausage. So I grew up in New York City and I went to school in New York as well. I had just turned 21 and I was super excited to be at the gay bar for the first time in my life. It's kind of like a really cool moment because you're used to being, you grow up in like really straight spaces your entire life. Where did he come from? Where did he go? Where did he come from? I got that joke. And you feel like maybe you don't really fit in with the crowd around you, and you can finally be in a space dedicated for like people like you, like people who are like you, or at least somewhat like you. You know, gay bars have their own problems and the gay community has its own problems, but you know, let's save that discussion for another video, and I'm just going to tell my story today. I worked part-time throughout college because I had to pay for it on my own. So at the time, I was living on Long Island, which is near the place I was interning at. Long Island is like an hour's train ride from New York City, so to the right of New York City, both literally and metaphorically. It's very suburby. It's a very suburby area, kind of leans Republican. People tend to be a little bit wealthier, a little bit less open-minded, that kind of a thing. You know, it's a generalization. Depends on the area of Long Island specifically, but generally speaking, that's kind of gives you an idea of what it's like there. And at the time I was living in this lady's house. She's retired. She's in her 70s or 80s. Altogether, a nice lady. Had a couple strange rules that I had to deal with. Some of them were fine, like she bought me a set of pots and pans to use on her stove because she didn't want me to potentially scratch it. Like, stuff like that's totally fine, you know, it's expensive stove, and I mean, her pots and pans were much nicer than mine anyway. It was all like all clad, stainless steel, the whole works. I always say, you know you've made it when you can afford to buy 5 different pan sizes for your cookware, you know, including those tiny little ones that you use to like cook one egg. Compared to me, I have this like giant $25 Target pan that I use for like everything from frying chicken breasts that I eat every night to whacking spiders in the summer. I'm terrified of spiders. Some other stuff definitely weirded me out quite a bit about her. Like when I first applied to live there, she told me all about how much she loved Asians and how kind and docile and sweet we all are, and that's why she prefers renting out to international students at the university, which, you know, I'm a US citizen, but like whatever. She told me about how much she loved like Asian food, and there were this like two Asian girls who lived in my room before me, and they would teach her all sorts of dishes, and she would love to like listen to them and watch them cook because their Chinese sounded like birds chirping. I mean, I'll take birds chirping over ching chong, but like, yeah. She also wanted to know like where I was going whenever I left the house, that kind of a thing. I think she wanted to create like a family environment. But personally, I thought of it more as like a business dealing, like, you know, I pay you rent, you let me live in your space. I'm not looking to be like, you know, involved in your family dinners or anything. If I wanted to be bossed around by a mom, I'd just live at home rent free, you know? You get the bonus of amazing Chinese food at, you know, all times a day, with the downside of constant reminders of how you're let down for the whole family and how much better at life your sister is than you are. I usually try to be really pleasant and form good relationships with my landlords. You know, just being like a personable human being and all of that, but I didn't like the way she fetishized me or fit me in a box, so I purposefully was pretty abrupt with her. You know, she's an old lady, so like being mean is just really out of line. But as an example, when she would try to have conversations with me when I got home from work, I would just kind of like end it abruptly instead of being nice and engaging with her, that kind of a thing. At the time I was seeing this Latino guy, like we weren't like dating or anything, it wasn't that serious, but we liked each other's company. We would see each other at my place, and she really didn't like him. I don't know why, because honestly, he was so much more polite to her than I was, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know why I'm bringing this up, but at any rate, on my 21st birthday, he and a few of my friends came over to my place to take me out to lunch, and then we had plans to go out to the gay bar in New York City for the first time. I was really looking forward to going to therapy and industry. There are two, we call them sister bars in New York City, because they were across the street from each other, so guys would like hop between the two throughout the night. Industry draws a crowd a lot like its name, like a lot of like working gays, you know, professional gays, a little bit, you know, a little bit bro-y, a little bit gym ratty, that kind of a thing. Therapy attracted a really large gaysian crowd. I'm not really sure why, but I think it probably had a lot to do with just the fact that they played a lot of K-pop and EDM there. And everyone knows the secret to trapping your very own Kevin Nguyen is boba, Adidas, K-pop, and EDM. Serious question. Serious question. What's the deal with fuckboys and that like that snorting thing that they do? Like, is this supposed to be attractive? Do you need to clean out your nose? Like, do you need a tissue? Like, I don't have nasal wash, but like, you can use my enema if you're really desperate. So my friends came over, and she saw them, and she was like, "Wow, so many handsome boys in my house today." And she went to her. That was a really bad impression of a very sweet 70 to 80-year-old lady. She was not. I made her sound like a freaking MILF. Okay, no. She was not a MILF. She was. She's like, "Wow, so many handsome boys in my house today. Wow, so many handsome boys in my house today." I don't know. I'm not an actor. But anyway, my point is, she went to her backyard. She went to her backyard and she dug up like a bunch of peppers, and she was like, "Oh, take these peppers. They're ripe, and I have way too many." And my friends were like really polite about it. They were like, "Oh, thank you. That's so kind of you, you know." And then like in Asian culture, you're supposed to like say no the first like 10 times. So they're like, "Oh, that's so sweet of you. You know, we're going out for lunch," and then she was like, "Oh, but I insist," and then like this back and forth dance. And when she left, my friends were like, "Kevin, what? Like, why is this lady giving us peppers? What are we supposed to do with like a bucket of like jalapeno peppers?" It's like near the top of like the list of things you don't eat before going out for a night, in case you wanna like have some fun later on. Cause yeah, I'm pretty sure it goes like beans, chipotle, and like habanero peppers, and then jalapeno peppers. Pretty sure that's how this goes. We went out for lunch, got like the Cape barbecue or whatever it was, I don't really remember. And then we get back, it's like 6 p.m. and we start to pregame a bit, right? We're like chatting, we're drinking, and I'm just like downing vodka like it's Starbucks Nitro Code, bro. You know how like when you turn 21 and you all of a sudden have like your neighborhood 7-Eleven's alcohol, all of it at your disposal, and so you just start like drinking every day until the novelty wears off. Anyone else go through that phase? No, just me? Okay. But also, I won't lie, like, I was getting really nervous about going to the gay bar for the first time. Like, would the guys judge me? Would they talk to me at all? Like, what if they thought I was ugly, or poorly dressed, or not attractive enough, or, like, any other host of things? And the whole train of insecurity was just, like, starting to hit me, right? So I was downing vodka until I got to a point where I was too drunk to actually form a coherent thought, and this definitely helped kill the anxiety. But what I didn't realize in my baby adult age was that alcohol takes time for your like body to digest and actually hit. So I was downing it, and then 30 seconds later downing more, because I was like, "Oh, what the hell, I don't feel a thing yet." And I think you guys know where this story is going. In hindsight, people on the way to the bar probably, no, definitely judged me, and probably rightfully so. I mean, eventually you get to a point where you stop caring what other people think. I mean, you always care a little bit, but here's a tip for you guys, right? Literally, fake it till you make it is such a valid strategy. Form an idea, like a persona of who you want to be at the bar, and then put your acting face on and just pretend you are that person. Like in the beginning, I wouldn't talk to guys. I was too busy worrying about if people would judge me the entire night, and it just wasn't fun. It wasn't fun anymore. And at some point, I started forcing myself to talk to people. I don't recommend this as like a strategy for anyone else. This is like just what worked for me. Like, I told myself, you're not allowed to leave this bar until you talk to a stranger. It could be like you just say hi to like a random dude in the bathroom, or it could be like you sit down and strike up a whole conversation with someone else about your future and your dreams and your hopes, and then like 2 years down the line you get married and you have a dog who's like a husky or a golden retriever, and you have like maybe 2 kids, but you live in like a New York City high-rise and you're like a dream couple. Anyway, I made some pretty cool friends that way. Like, it really does work. Keep in mind, like, everyone around you is also drunk and self-conscious and scared of starting conversations with strangers too, right? Most people aren't gonna be mean. And by the way, people who are mean and judgy, like judgy gays, they're just really fucking insecure. It's true. Went on a tangent. So we're getting off the LUR or the LIRR, depending on where from New York you're from. But we're walking to our very first gay bar. It's like 10 p.m., which is still really early for New York City nightlife, but we're walking down the street from the station and it's already buzzing with activity. It's winter time, but hoes don't get cold, so there's already guys like walking around in tank tops and t-shirts and jeans and like grabbing dinner. You could definitely tell it was like a pretty gay area or like a neighborhood. If not from the pride flag hanging door to door, then definitely by the hot pink shorts and carefully manicured eyebrows that all the guys were sporting. One of us decides that they're hungry, so we stop at a New York pizza place literally next door to therapy. We go inside, we order a pizza, and from there my memory completely fades, like disappears. The next moment, I'm waking up with my heads in my arms. Like, my friends are chatting around me. Pizza's like long gone, empty pizza box. I wiped the drool off my face and like put my body over the giant puddle of drool that I had formed on the table. My friends are like, "Oh look, the princess is finally awake. How are you feeling?" I'm like, "Oh crap. What time is it?" And I look up at the clock and it's 1 a.m. 1 a.m. I had been asleep for 3 freaking hours. 3 hours in that pizzeria. We traveled an hour for me to sleep for 3 hours in that pizzeria. And my poor friends literally sat by my side when the gay bar was literally right next door. So yeah, I did get double sausage that night. So anyway, I eventually do end up going to therapy for the first time. God knows I really need it. So if it's your first time at the gay bars, don't worry. You can't possibly do worse than I did. I didn't even walk in. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I upload like once every 2 weeks or so, mostly about my experiences being gay and Asian in the US. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, I'm moving in a month. Yay! I'll still be in Chicago, just closer to the city than I am now. So this is probably the last video I'm shooting in this space, like maybe second to last video. But maybe we could do like a new apartment tour or something. I don't know if you guys would be interested in that. Let me know in the comments below. Have a great July 4th weekend, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.